Hey, Pastor Donna here. Just want you to know I am going to be in Chicago October 11th and 12th with the Rhema Ministry. You check the notes, but I want you to come out and see. Hey, I'm going to have my book, Encouraging Words They Matter. We're going to have a great time. I would love to see your face in the place. Don't forget to check the comments. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, fam? It's John here. We do talk about suicide in this episode, which I know can be distressing. So if you need resources or support, go to 988lifeline.org. You can also text or call 988 24 hours a day. Please look after yourself and enjoy today's episode. What's up, family? Welcome to the Bacon Bits Podcast, where we desire for you to take the bits of information and immediately apply them to your life for success. The ground rules for our podcast is that it will always be encouraging, uplifting, and informative. The areas of life that we will be talking about today on the Bacon Bits Podcast is dealing with having a balanced life. And I need to hear you say it. Say valuable. Information applied equals success. And today we have a special guest on the podcast today, a woman I highly admire. I'm super grateful that she's in my life, super thankful. I love hearing her teach and preach, and I just love her whole energy of everything that she is. So we would like to welcome to the Bacon Bits Podcast, Mrs. Donna Walker. What's up, sis?
I'm excited to be here, bro. You know I love you. You already know, so I'm excited to be here.
Girl, excited to have you here. So I wanted to have you on the podcast because you live a balanced life. You know, everything that we talk about, I mean, girl, you're doing it with traveling, you're doing it with taking care of your health, you're doing it with an awesome marriage to your brother Jerome of 37 years. You have two beautiful, awesome kids, two awesome grandkids. You are in the schools out there. You out there helping people that's in dire need. You are just a doer of life. And I'm super excited to share. And, ultimately, our relationship with Jesus Christ. But it's just, you are such a whole person. And I wanted to have you on here to talk about how you got to be a whole person, because, we all had our days and our years out there acting a fool, living out wild and crazy. And we didn't always, we weren't always the version of the person that we are today. So I was wanting to start, as you are the author of the book, Encouraging Words.
Encouraging Words, They Matter.
Yeah. And I know sometimes we weren't always living a life that was encouraging. So I wanted to go backpedal from your success today to what got you to wanting to be the woman that you are today.
That's funny. I'll just tell you, I'm from the south side of Tucson, from the Vistas, and when I was growing up, we had actually a community that took care of us, that helped us, that spanked us, that did everything. And in my neighborhood, there was a guy named Mr. White. And Mr. White, every day we would pass by his house and he'd say, "Hey, did you graduate from school yet?" We're like, "No, Mr. White, I'm in first grade." I'm like, "No." And so every year it went the same. And as we would progress, the kids would tease me. They would be like, "Donna, why you keep answering him?" I said, "Because I would rather deal with Mr. White than deal with my mama." Because, my mother did not play about treating older people.
Yeah.
We had to show much respect. And so I remember middle school, I didn't see him as much, but this question was the same when I did. "Have you graduated? When you graduate, come back and see me. When you graduate, come back and see me." And I was like, okay. So when I got ready to graduate from high school, I told my mom, "I got to go see Mr. White. I'm going to see Mr. White to tell him that I graduated." And I ran down there and I said, "Hey, Mr. White, hey, Mr. White." I said, "I'm graduating. I'm on my way to school. I'm getting ready to graduate." He said, "Hold on, don't leave, don't leave." He goes back in the house and he comes back with these two giant old school pickle jars. I know you were talking great big ones. He comes out, they're full of change. Every time I answered him, he put change in this. Oh my goodness. He said he started out asking all the kids, but I was the only kid that continued to ask. And he said he had a graduation gift for me, and that was it. And he told me
wow,
that
wow.
he wanted to make sure. The only way I get it, I have to come back. I didn't know, but I had to come back and tell him. I came back and I told him. He gave me, it was over $500.
Wow.
I would really like to say, I'm great and I saved that $500, but I did not. I did not. But I do save. I saved a silver dollar.
Yeah.
To remind me, because what he said, what you say and what you do, it matters.
Yeah.
And that, I'm serious, for real. It was Mr. White and those pickle jars. Like I said, I did spend the cash, but I did remember that.
Yeah, right on, right on. So what was the encouragement for writing the book? What was the encouragement?
Just so many stories. I do a lot of volunteer works, a lot of things in the community, and just the stories and the lessons that I learned over the years, just doing I guess one of my favorite when I went, matter of fact, I took a class over for you. That was a church on the street. I think it was my second class, and this lady, my format is a title, question, biblical text.
Yeah.
And when it got to her, she said, first of all, I don't like teachers. I just got out of jail.
Come on, girl.
I was on the hooker pole last night. What can your God do for me? I said, snap. And they kept saying, oh, you can't talk to her like. I said, no, I got this.
Yeah.
And I was like, first of all, ain't nobody scared of you.
Mm-hmm. Come on now.
I'm glad you're here. But ain't nobody scared of you. Mm-hmm. I said, from 5:30 to 6:30, I'm in charge of this class.
Come on,
6:31, you can have it. And went on and taught the class, and I get ready to walk out to my car. And she said, Miss, I need to talk to you. I said, Lord, what did she go to jail for? Is she a killer? I don't know. I was bold in there.
Right.
And I turned around, I said, yes. And she said, I have never been told that they were glad I was there. She said, you are the very first person that has ever told me they were glad I was in the room.
Come on, girl.
And I was like, wow. I was still scared,
but
I remembered that. And I think that's why I remembered that what you say affects people.
Man.
I had no clue that happened. I was just trying to get her off of me during the class, but it mattered to her. Yeah. And now she still writes me, emails me every Friday, and she gets I've been doing it, 12 years now, whatever. But she still writes me and say, hey, what was the lesson today? And I email every Friday. And that's been over 12 years. So
that is a blessing. See, that's crazy. Been doing it that long.
Long time.
Good Lord.
Long time.
Yeah, that's a blessing. So now you are in the schools. You are right in the thick of it with these kids, and they definitely need words that will encourage them and motivate them and keep them on track. And sometimes just to be there. Not even for the motivation part. It's just like, Lord, can you just say something that could be said into their spirit that's going to maintain them to want to come back another day? Because sometimes it gets that hard.
It does.
Yeah. And so how long have you been working in the school district?
So I retired civil service 30 years. And so now I've been in the school district for 8.
Okay.
And I've been the liaison for 7 years. I did something else for a year. I guess with that, the one that really hits home, I had a kid. I started a program, Snack Pack Friday, and I would give out snacks and go to the food bank, get snacks, and every Friday and every other Friday or something, we would give out snacks. And this little guy came up to me, and he said, Miss, do you ever get Captain Crunch cereal? And I was like, sometimes we get a lot of cereals, I don't know. Mm-hmm. He said, I never had Captain Crunch. He said, I saw it on TV one time. And I said, I'd like to try some of those. And I was like, okay. I said, well, if I get a Captain Crunch out. And I kind of forgot about it and happened to come up with a box of Captain Crunch. And I saved it for him. And this kid breaks down and he cries. Wow. And he said, I got to take it home and share it with my sister. He said, we've never had a cereal out of a box. They always had the bag, those Oots and Loops or whatever they call. But he had never had like a box that was on TV. And I was like, man, sometimes the things we take for granted.
Come on, sis.
We take for granted that they really, really. And so that was a big thing for me. I was like, man, I don't take this for granted because I would have never even thought a kid would even care about Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
But this kid did. And it was funny. Anytime I gave him a snack, he cut it in half.
Right on.
He said he and his sister, some days they would go hungry, so they promised each other no matter what they got during the day, they would cut it in half and share it.
Yeah.
Even if I gave him 2, he would still cut it in half. because they made that promise to each other.
Ooh, see, people need to hear these stories, man, because we take a lot of stuff for granted. Man, we do as human beings. And so I'm grateful for you to tell that story and share with us. And I just think about, like, man, how much these kids need that encouragement and that motivation where they at right now.
I believe
They
that.
need it, man. And we just live in a world that, people think that, we don't, with all the self-care and all the self-help and all that stuff that's out there, we don't have a lot of human interaction. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know we're doing a lot of stuff for self, but when we need, it ain't even optional. We need, as human beings, each other. Need. And sometimes they're not getting those, you would assume, those words of encouragement from the people that's closest to them. And so we have that privilege and that honor to be able to give them something that, man, we are never to take for granted. Never to take for granted. So thank you for everything that you're doing, sis. I sure appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sis. So, I want to hit you in every area.
Okay.
So 37 years of marriage.
Here we go.
37 years of marriage. We still a rookie at this thing. We still a rookie. We just got our 15 in. So, sis, for those who are out there that want to be successfully, happily committed in their marriages for 37 years, what's a couple of pieces of advice you would give to them?
Well, I will tell you the best thing, and Jerome and I, we're totally different.
Yeah.
And he's, yes. And so so we're totally different. And I have to appreciate that.
Yeah.
And have to understand that.
Yeah.
But I think the best thing that he ever said to me was, other than I love you, was, what did you hear? He would say something to me, and then I would get like, I'm all mad and stuff. And then he said, wait a minute.
Ooh,
what did you hear?
Come on, sis.
And then I'd tell him, he said, no, that's what I said, but that's not what I meant. Ooh. And so when he went back, and I said, oh, okay. Then. So now, if my face starts to turn up, he's like, what did you hear? What did you hear? And it was. And it's because I think men and women process differently.
Yes, we do.
So what he said was, I was like, well, that's not what you said. He said, yeah, that's not what I said, but that's what I meant.
Yeah.
And so that's what we use now. Anytime it starts to go crazy, we're like, what did you hear? Because most of the time it's communication.
Right.
Most of the time it's communication. And then I think the second thing, that you have to be your own person.
Yeah. Ooh.
Like Jerome he's like sports.
Yeah.
He is Western.
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
I am not. I'm outside. I'm people.
Right.
I love to travel. I love to do. And so we're so different. So I think you have to have your own thing and then something together.
Yeah.
And that's huge for us because I remember on a Saturday when we first got married, I'd get up early, do my chores. I'm up 4 o'clock in the morning. I do my chores, and I would leave. And about 1 o'clock, he'd give me a call. He'd say, hey, what you doing? I know that means, come on. I've had enough alone time. You need to come on and kick it with me. And so I don't really particularly like Westerns, but he does, and it's important to him. So I've seen every John Wayne movie, and stuff like that because it's important to him.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily like cruises and stuff, but he's been on them because of me.
Right.
So you have to make those sacrifices.
Yeah, because 2 holes make a hole. Ooh, yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah, you get a chance to be the full version of you because you don't want to lose you in the process of being in the marriage.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's the story that I love hearing over and over again. Is you get to be a whole person in your marriage, and the marriage gets to flourish.
Absolutely.
Just spectacularly. And I thank you so much for sharing that, girl. Like I said, my little head is just spinning. So, and the cool part I love, honestly, before we got together, is that we didn't talk about a lot of stuff before we did this, before we went to this podcast, because I wanted y'all to hear, fresh off the top of her dome, because this stuff, guess what? When it's off the top of your dome, that means it's right there. You ain't got to think about it. You ain't got to let me make up an answer. We ain't got to. No, she coming off the top of her dome.
He didn't give me a chance to fix it. I didn't get to fix it.
It's the truth. Yeah. So the challenges of being at a homeless shelter for 12 years, because that is a blessing because nobody's making you do it. So there's something in your heart that loves doing this. And I would love to hear that thing that's in your heart that drives you for these 12 years to keep on doing what you've been doing.
I think because I have been teaching in church since I was 16. So been doing vacation Bible schools, Sunday schools, and all that, and it was totally different. Pastora Diana is the one who recruited me, but I think because it was so different.
Yeah.
I knew church. I could look at the clock and tell you what they were doing at my church.
Yeah.
I'd tell you, oh, they doing the offering right now. Oh,
Right.
somebody getting up speaking. They doing the Old and New Testament. They're doing whatever. I knew that. But with church on the street, you never knew what was going to happen. You didn't know what was going to be there. But it taught me timing.
Yeah.
When I first started teaching there, they were cooking bacon in the kitchen, and I was teaching in the living room.
Yeah.
I don't care how good a teacher you are. It's hard to teach when bacon is cooking.
I'm
just going to say that. I'm
sis.
not that good at it. Well, you know, I love you. I think you're one of the baddest in the game. But bacon and Bacon and Donna, I'm just saying, bacon wins. And so it taught me timing because I knew at 6:30, I don't care where I was, I had to be done. Because they were at 6:31, they're serving bacon. They ain't trying to hear you.
Right.
So it taught me timing. Because people were coming from all walks of life. Some people been in church, some had not, some been to jail, some had just been on the street, wherever they came from.
Yeah.
So I learned how to do hecklers.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time that I had a really, really bad heckler, other than that lady I told you about. I said, hey, look, I work alone. And they were like, oh, okay. And I was like, ooh, that worked. Okay, let me use that. So now I still use it today. If somebody gets out of class, they go, look, I work alone. alone. So it taught me timing. It taught me how to heckle. Like I said, where you wouldn't have that at church. In Sunday school, you don't have that.
Right,
you know, people are usually pretty calm. Even if you're boring them, they just be quiet. And stuff like that. Yeah, you don't have people booing you. Boo, and stuff like that. So I think growth in teaching. It really did because everything was so different. And some of the answers would blow your mind. In church, you get the church answers.
Right.
And I'm not knocking the church. I came from the church.
I got it. Yeah.
But they clean up the answers.
Yeah.
But church on the street,
Ooh.
they don't even know.
Yeah.
They don't even know to clean up the answers.
Yeah.
So so I think for me, it allowed me to build a safe zone.
Yeah.
For people like now, when people tell, I had a girl tell me, she said, "Well, I used to recruit for traffickers, and stuff like that." And so I said, "Okay, God bless you, welcome to the class and stuff." And so later on, she was like, "That didn't blow your mind?" I said, "Girl, I've had some traffickers, ones in here." So I think that's a big thing, that it just taught me to appreciate everybody. And issue grace to everyone, because we all need it.
Yes, we do. We sure do. Now, I want to go back to school thing, because it is. Did that prepare you somewhat for going into the schools?
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just be honest. So when I started, I went to a school that was like college prep. We had plenty of money and everything. I accidentally applied. I was just looking at this position. I accidentally applied, and then I did an interview, and they hired me. I told my husband, I said, I think I got a job. And he was like, when? And I was like, I don't know. So I was on a cruise. I got back, so I started on a Wednesday, which was odd. So I already knew it was going to be something was going crazy. The first day I walk in, and I had my little purse, had my little outfit together, thought I was going to find my office. And the principal comes out and he said, "Excuse me, Miss Walker." He said, "We have a pregnant teen and she's having some complications, and I need you to go to the hospital with her. So can you follow this ambulance?" I said, "Oh, okay." And I remember telling my husband, "I'm on my way to the hospital." He said, "Well, what they do to you? What happened?" I said, "I don't know." So I get there, find out this kid is pregnant. Mom has left the state.
Oh, my
And so I find the father of the baby, his mom. She said, "Well, can you stay there with her until 5 when I get off, and I'll come and get her?" And I'm like, "Okay." Yeah. That's what so that was my first day of school. First day of school. I was at St. Joseph's Hospital.
Yeah.
And so second day of school, I come in. This lady says, "I have my son has he would come to school, but his shoes have come loose. So it's like an alligator. They have come. The top has come from the bottom." And she said, "If you can get some shoes," and they told me, "Oh, just call the resource center." But the kid has a size 13 shoe.
Right.
So when I call, they don't have it. Well, my son at the time had a 13 shoe. So I got in my car, went home, pulled some of EJ's shoes down, and I met the lady in the parking lot and gave them to her. And the kid put the shoes on and went inside. And then I'm sitting there. I still haven't found my desk or office or anything. And this little girl comes up and she said, Miss, she said, my back hurts. And I said, oh, I'm not the nurse. Let me help you find the nurse. She said, no. And she turns around. She has a backpack. She's stapled. And then she's put, what's that thick tape? Duct tape.
Duct tape. Mm-hmm.
So she's done that a couple times. And so it's scratching her. I said, well, baby, you don't need the nurse. You need a backpack. You need a new backpack. And so I don't have anything. So I get in the car, go to Walmart, get a backpack, and come back. Mm-hmm. She empties it out. That's my second day of school.
Yeah.
The third day, this kid is standing outside, and she's motioning for me to come. And I said, oh, Lord, now what? So I go out there, and she says, Miss, she said, I would come to school. She said, but I don't have deodorant. I don't have a toothbrush or anything like that. Well, I had told you I'd been on a cruise, and so I hadn't had a chance to clean my purse out, so I got all these samples in my purse. I said, well, baby, come in here. I take her. I don't even know where the other bathrooms are. I said, go in the staff bathroom, brush your teeth. And so I give her all the stuff, and she goes out, and she goes, so I come home, and I talk to my husband. My husband is an accountant, so everything is numbers. He was like, Donna, you gonna have to figure this out, or you gonna have to quit. We can do this, but you retired, you get a check, you can quit. He said, we can do this for 3 kids. We can't do this for 1,000 kids. He said, so you need to figure it out. So I said, okay. So I called Davis. I said, over the weekend, I said, what do I know? I said, I know church. Yeah. And I know the military, because the military family. He said, I called the chaplain. Mm-hmm. And I said, can I get on your calendar? Can I come and talk to you? And he said, yeah, come on out. And I went out there, and I told him my first 3 days of school. He said, you still work there? I said, I'm trying. I said, because my husband going to make me quit if I can't figure out something. He said, well, what I want you to do is, he said, I have 4 services. I want you to come and tell them your first 3 days of school. I said, okay, bet. So I called my pastor. I said, hey, I got to go to church 4 times this weekend. I ain't coming. And so I go. I had never been to a Catholic service. Mm-hmm. Very different from Baptist.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes.
So I go in there. Everybody quiet and stuff. I was like, And so this lady, I call her little Donna. She's helping me, because you gotta be in shape to go to Catholic, because you got to get up, get down, get down. It's a lot of work. You gotta know when to do it. And so she's helping me, and then she's paid $3.45. I said, okay, so I find it. And then he asked me to come up, and I tell my story. I can handle a room. I'm a storyteller, John. That's what we do,
yes,
right?
Yes, it is.
Ghost up in there. I mean, it is crickets up in there. I said, well, I just got booed in silence. So I came and sat down. I sat down, and the priest, he comes with, and I guess it's the altar boy. He has a cross. They come, and he says, get in the procession. I was like, they don't really want to talk to me, but okay. So I get in there. They come out. They were like, how can we help? How can we help? We want to adopt your school. I was like, what? And the lady said, oh my God, you are so funny. I said, y'all didn't laugh. She said, oh, we don't laugh in church. I said, why y'all didn't tell us, sister? Y'all should have told me. I didn't know. So this is on Saturday, right? So Sunday I come back. I didn't realize the Catholic service is the same. Mm-hmm. So I got it now. I'm like, I said, we're on page 345. I got it. Okay, I work it. Then they had a Protestant and then a gospel. So go ahead. That Monday, the chaplain he said, look at your email. Oh, he had told me to bring 2 boxes. Uh-huh. So I had went to U-Haul and got the garment boxes and had the kids decorate them. So I took them. I open up my email, and there's pictures. These boxes are heaping. They're heaping. We got backpacks, paper, anything that I mentioned. Yeah, it's in there. Come on now. And so that's how I got started. Yeah. After that, I wrote a couple grants and got my program off the ground. Yeah, because my budget was zero. Right, zero, no money. Come on. But yeah, so that's how I got started. Every school is different. Our school, this is what we needed. Yeah. So I'm not saying that every outreach person, that's what they do. Right. But at my school, this is what we needed. Yeah. And we had a couple other things. We had kids with babies. So we started a Reading Matters program. We got books donated from Borders and a couple places so the kids could read to their kids and stuff like that. And then I had a little girl, that same little girl, the first one I met, she was going to quit school. She came in. I came to say goodbye to you, Miss Donna. And I said, where are you going? She said, I guess the government pays for daycare, but they don't buy diapers. But you have to have diapers to take the baby to daycare. I said, oh, wait a minute. Now, you're not going to drop out. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I said, but if you come, I'll figure it out. And so I partnered with some churches that had a diaper ministry. And I told them, I said, they can't come get the diapers. I got to come get them because we're trying to keep them in school. And so we started that. And that's how it was.
Find a need and meet it. Find a need and meet it. Man, my goodness.
He meet this because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, what?
Come on
like,
now. Man, God is good. So I love how we talking about all these different dynamics because this is why we talk about it on The Balanced Life. So now you'd be like, this boy just changing gears all over the place. But now from taking care of other people's kids, can you give me some great advice on taking care of your kids?
My kids, it's funny. My kids are day and night.
Mm-hmm.
I tell everybody I have one that dreams in color and one that dreams in black and white. My daughter, very, very smart, very bright, made A's from kindergarten to college. I never went to school about her grades. Never. She usually was leading protests and stuff. You know, she was that kid and stuff. And then my son is an artist. And so it's very, very different. Because you're like, so my daughter, she has a program. She has her notebook. She types it up, sends it in. My son, he came to us and he said, Mom, Dad, I want a goat. And I said, a goat? And he said, yeah. He said, I don't want to take biology. I want to raise a goat for a year. And I was like, oh, okay. So we had to buy a goat, and at his school they had a pen, and so we had a goat. Our goat was called Salted Caramel. We got pictures with the goat, everything. I mean, and I was like, we got a goat, you know. Like, and so my daughter was teasing us. She said, "You guys never bought me a goat." I said, "Did you want one?" and stuff. But I had to learn to let each kid be themselves. Mm-hmm. And that was very different. Like. Yeah. She didn't want to learn how to drive. I had to make her because she was in sports and all this stuff. And I'm like, Kayla, we're getting tired of driving. You got to learn how to drive. EJ was like, can I get my license on my birthday? You know, he was totally different. And so I had to even discipline differently. Like with Kayla, you could just change your tone. I was like, don't make me come in there. And she would get okay. EJ, you would have to go in there. and he still wasn't going to do what you said. You know, just a different kid. But to know that it's okay. It's okay. And I think that's the biggest thing. We had to just make sure that we did. Like Kayla was sports. Very good at sports. She played basketball. She was in the band. She was on this stuff. EJ, he's like 6'5". He looked like he was going to be a football player. We had him on sports. He was out there drawing and cartooning the characters. I told my husband, I said, I don't think this is going to work. I just feel like, he's not an athlete. So this is our last game. This is our last game. But Kayla, she wanted to win. That was her. And it was okay. But you would have thought my son, my 6'5" son, but he had no interest at all. Right. Now he will paint the whole and cartoon and do everything. Yeah. And so one summer I put him in a cartoon class and the instructor came out. He said, keep him in art. Yeah. This is his ticket. Right. And so that's what happened. Right. And Kayla can't draw a stick man.
Right, come on. Ooh.
Yeah, she can't. If she draw a stick man, you're going to be like, what is that? You know?
Come on. And that's the beauty of knowing that, man, parenting is not an easy job.
And it's not cookie cutter.
Come on.
Cookie cutter.
Okay, sis, I want to finish off with this one. Okay.
Uh-oh.
See,
I'm nervous.
I like to do the breathing thing. Like I got something really deep to say. Okay. So you have done a lot of funerals.
We did 100 last year.
Oh, yeah. Just last year, y'all. Mm-hmm. Okay. You've seen various forms of grieving. There's somebody that's listening that they had a loved one just pass away recently through drug overdose, alcoholism, through suicide, whatever it may be. What words of advice can you give to those that are out there grieving?
Let me share this really quickly.
Yeah.
I had a nephew, and it's funny. I have a lot of nephews because my brother got a lot of kids, but I had a nephew, and he actually came to church on the street with me one time. But if I had to pick one of my nephews, and you told me that he committed suicide, I would not have picked this kid.
Yeah.
This kid was the one. He was into sports. Hey, Auntie, are you drinking water? He was this person. Hey, I love you. Make sure you know that. Keep your head up today. He was that kid. And so on my wedding anniversary, my husband and I were in Vegas, and we get a call from my daughter, and I hear my sister screaming in the background, and I was like, what are y'all? I thought she was laughing. I said, what are you guys doing? And she tells me that my nephew had committed suicide. And I was like, wow. Blows my mind. Come back, and I'm the big sister. My sister says, if you can make it, we can make it.
Yeah.
So we got this.
Yeah.
We got this. But one of the things that came to me was, and that's actually what we did for his funeral, don't make a permanent decision for temporary situations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's how we got through it. I knew I could not help my nephew, but it was important for me to help those other kids.
Yeah.
My nephew's funeral was about 801, and probably 500 of those were kids.
Yeah.
And I saw on a post, the kid said, don't make a temporary decision don't make a permanent decision for a temporary decision. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I said, so that's how we help families get through that. We have to know that it's okay. Things are going to happen. I always hear, rest in peace, rest in paradise, in heaven. Most of the funerals, 90% of the funerals that I do not know the people. Yeah. And we know eulogy means to speak well of the dead. Yeah. I don't know them. Yeah. But I believe, if you believe they went to heaven, let me tell you how to get there. Mm-hmm. And that's how we do. And we show them how much God loves them, where he's at. He's going to follow you. We remind the family members to make sure that they stay in touch. And then I charge the friends and the people that are there, you keep calling. Because what happens is after the funeral is over, see, everybody's there. It's all, everybody's there hugging, loving on you. But then everybody starts to go home. Yeah. And then and that's what happened with my nephew. Everybody was there, was packed. And then everybody started going home. Yeah. But there were some people that kept reaching out. Hey, I love you. Yeah. Hey, I saw something that made me think about Talib, and they would show tell stories about him and keeping his memory alive and in our hearts and stuff. But that was the biggest thing, to keep and stay in touch. That was huge, because a lot of people, we don't know, they go home and they're all by themselves. Yeah. All by themselves. So you have to stay in touch. I have a thing that I do. I'm the cares pastor at my church, and I call it stop by. Yeah. Just stop by. Call somebody, text them, send an email, send a card, come over, take a walk, bring up peach cobbler, do something, but make contact. Just stop by. I think that's so important, because I know there were so many times that I was so lonely and so without. And then some of my kids at the school knew my nephew, and they were like, "Miss, we just wanted to give you a hug because he couldn't give you a hug." That worked.
Yeah, come on, sis. Come on.
So I would say,
come on,
stop by.
Come on,
stop by.
Come on. My God, sis, thank you so much for this time we've had together. Now, I'm going to finish off with my favorite Donna story. Okay. Uh-oh. So this was back when we did the transition from me leaving church on the street and you taking over and doing a spectacular job. You took it way further than I could ever take it, and I'm super grateful for that. But it was on a Thanksgiving dinner. We had Thanksgiving dinner on the property, and we was doing it that day. And we had served all the people at the dinner, and we sit down and eat with the people. That was always the coolest part. We sit down and eat, because you hear some stories that, man, it really makes you understand the dynamics of humanity. It's vast. It's vast. But sis knew I loved analogies. She knew I loved analogies. She probably forgot the story that she told me.
I'm listening.
Of analogies. And I'm an analogy freak. If you tell me something analogy, I will never forget it for the rest of my life. I love analogies. And I remember you said, okay, I got one for you, bro. I said, all right, sis, bring it on. And you said, I want you to think about the year that you graduated from high school. 1985. I know some of y'all wasn't born then, but just go ahead and listen to the story. And she said, you can have any car you want. And I was like, ooh, Cadillac Coupe de Ville back then, 1985, with them little spoke rims on it, with the little white rim on it. I mean, the white lining on it. Ooh, I would have a cassette player up in there. Don't y'all talk about me now. Man, that mug would have been maxed out, pimped out, as we would say. And she said, it's only one catch. You can have the car for your graduation, but it's only one catch. You can never have another car for the rest of your life. How would you treat that car? And I said, man, I would treat that car like it's pristine. I mean, I would make sure that mug was cleaned every day, make sure it was waxed, make sure it was vacuumed out. I would make sure that mug was nice. And she said, you only get one body. And you supposed to take care of your body like you would have took care of that car. You make sure don't nothing happen to it, and anytime something break down on it or some maintenance is needed, you immediately fix it. Don't delay getting it fixed. And that story has stuck with me, sis, forever. And I tell that story at least once a month. Wow. Ever since you told me that story 12 years ago, I tell it at least once a month, because I want people to really think about it, especially working in a drug and alcohol facility, is that, man, you only get one body, man. And when we put all them drugs and alcohol and we're destroying it, man, you don't know there's some damage that you've done to that body that you can never get it repaired back. So I thank you, sis, for that story and just the life that you live as a whole. I am so appreciative of you. You are such a blessing into this community, and we wouldn't know what to do without you, girl.
Bro, I just appreciate you having me here. And you know, other than Jesus, you're one of my favorite teachers. Come on, bro.
I appreciate
For
you,
real.
girl.
I was like, woo.
I appreciate you. Now, so I would love for people to get that wonderful book. How can they get a hold of a copy of the book?
If they go on Amazon, put either Donna Walker or Encouraging Words They Matter, combination, and you can get it right there. They'll send it right out. If not, contact me online, and I can get it to you signed. But yeah, definitely on Amazon.
Right on, all right on. Well, sis, thank you so much for stopping by, and I appreciate everything that you do and everything that you are and is and going to be. So thank you so much, sis.
I just want to say this: you matter, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Family, we love you. We ain't got nothing but love for you. This is your boy John Bacon with another segment of Bacon Bits. God bless.